United States and Kenya have continued to hold the negotiations. They held a second negotiation in October 2023. That was between in Washington, D.C. between October 4th and 7th in 2023. And they had already done another round of negotiations in April. And also this was coming after they had agreed on that background with the STIP in July 14, 2022. So what they're saying is that the negotiations are still ongoing. So as Ali, I guess Ali, you're right in saying that most probably this dinner is to try to get those negotiations continuing. But the last time they met was in October 2023.
Yeah. So I have, I have a theory, and some of these theories I have are typically based on, experience. That we've seen before. So remember this trade deal, this was Trump's baby. Unfortunately COVID came and things were delayed, so that was that was an excuse to delay it. And I think Trump was working on the basis that he thought he was gonna win the election and go on a second term. Yeah, so they wanted to hold it until the second term. But now President Biden comes in and things have changed. President Biden knows this was Trump's baby. So President Biden is like, we're going to continue with it, but I'm going to strategically try and see what's going to be of benefit to my administration.
Yes.
Now, the first thing that happens, if you remember that particular time, is that whoever was the ambassador at the time when Trump was president, I think his name was Kyle Carter, the guy who applied for the job online, like you're applying for McDonald's, and he got it. Yeah. So as soon as President Biden was declared the winner, shortly after, this guy raised his hands up. And I think it was after the swearing in. Before time you were talking, akasema, hey, mimi nimetoka, because he knew he was going to be one of the people who was going to be axed. And then who's appointed Kenyan ambassador? Meg Whitman, former HP CEO, a business person.
Yes.
And what does Meg Whitman do, over time? She even takes a step and says that Kenya's election was the most credible election. And here you're talking about a diplomat talking about a disputed election. And Americans don't do things randomly. Remember when President Ruto, because I want to go step by step. Remember when President Ruto came to visit the US? Who was chaperoning President Ruto around? Meg Whitman. That is very weird. An ambassador who's supposed to be operating at the base is coming and being your chaperone and introducing you to people in Silicon Valley and all this stuff. So there was a lot of shenanigans, happening.
Well, that's when he met Google and...
Correct. That's when she held his hand and walked him.
Yeah, and then that's when people were promised that they're going to get jobs on laptops.
5 million jobs.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how that went. And then, remember, President Biden gave a shout-out to Ruto in a speech to the UN. Remember, American presidents don't just give random shout-outs.
And the shout-out was because they were going to lead the efforts in Haiti.
Yes. Yeah.
We remember that.
Is that before the cop died or after the cop died?
So the cop dying, this is something very recent.
Very recent.
Okay.
This is something very recent. But just going by the words, because the White House released a very short press release, but it was so deep. And this was like poetry in what they did. Because, I'm one of those people who likes opening up the hood.
Type C.
To understand
charger.
What's inside here. So, unaona vile Omosh is buying a car. Those people who are excited about sunroof, paint job iko sawa, sijui rims na ka vipi. Mimi mtu nataka kufungwa engine, I want to know, how long do these cars last?
Yani this kinyagarika amechukua akaniweka wapi?
It was just a random example. I'm not saying that's what
you were excited by the check on your rental Wewe uko unajua gari zoko na vitu zingine.
Yeah.
Boss bana sijawahi ona gari hata iko na USB
vitu za nyuma ya tenzi
ya kucheza ni USB-C ya kucheza nini.
Yeah, I know people who get excited by
na
iPads.
inasoma hard drive yangu ya 2 terabyte.
Yeah. So this short statement. So let's go back to this short statement, and you can find it on the White House website. We're going to share it.
Whitehouse.gov.
Whitehouse.gov. This press release by Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. It was short, but sweet in American tastes. But for the rest of for Kenya, because this is a Kenyan president's state visit, there's a lot of loaded things that I think was said without being said. Yeah. So let's get started. When you go back, when you recap, it's a very short paragraph. So the first thing they say, this is a 60th anniversary of US-Kenya diplomatic relations. So that right there is an introduction to make, 90% of the people, ni sherehe tu. They're just coming to acknowledge. Yeah. So this is to close your eyes. And it was a good coincidence.
But it's very interesting. They say 60th anniversary of the relationship because, again, Kenya is at 60.
Kenya is at 60,
right?
And that's
they have existed. So
the 60
together
is when America and Kenya officially opened diplomatic ties. So that's fair enough. It's a good coincidence because if this happens at 62 years, then you can't say Kenya at 62. So 60 is a good number to keep, doubting minds. Just like
keep you busy.
They're just celebrating. But now, what you need to pay attention to, America doesn't normally do, these centennial celebrations with all the other diplomatic partners
or friends.
Yeah, or friends. They don't. This is not something they normally do. So this was a good coincidence that they included this year. Higher. Now, they talk about peace and security is one of the issues that they're gonna deal with. Now,
in the region.
Now think. It just said peace and security.
Okay.
Going back to what they said the visit is to mark the 60th anniversary of US-Kenya diplomatic relations and commitment to advance peace and security. Let's just pause at peace and security before we go to the other ones. There's certain things that we already know.
Yes.
Kenya is already, going to sending its police to Haiti.
Correct.
To fight on behalf of the US because it's the US that's funding that mission. Remember,
lakini pesa zimekulwa but
yeah. Remember, at this point, America doesn't have an appetite, or the Biden administration doesn't have an appetite to send soldiers abroad.
No.
On either peacekeeping missions or on anything. Yeah, there's no appetite for that.
No boots on the ground.
So now what they're doing, they're looking for all kinds of partners. So to me, even this one for Haiti is, people in Kenya seeing it as a big deal. I think this is just a test on Iran. Let's see, how this one is gonna work, because if a Kenyan cop is killed by a guy called Barbecue in Haiti, let's just say randomly, that's not gonna be news in America.
No,
it's not gonna be on the news in America. Nobody's gonna care about that. But if an American soldier is killed, or an American Marine or whatever,
Republicans will be up. Yes.
So this is something that they're strategically doing.
100.
And now Kenya has opened themselves up to do all kinds of missions for the US. So Haiti is the one that we have on paper.
Ilikuwa Nyiro 1.
Yes, Nyiro 1. We haven't gone there.
Not yet.
There's still some legal issues. And also recently there was a delegation here. Unfortunately, there was a Kenyan in that delegation who apparently even had made a presentation and died in his hotel room. We still don't have any information about
it. This guy was a top cop.
Yeah. And he was very young. He was in his 30s.
Yes, he was highly regarded, high up there. Wow. For me, I think this was one of those guys who must have been really, really good as either commando or something like that. And that's how he went up the because he was a commander.
Yeah.
At what, 35?
He was, I don't know exactly what, but he was in his late 30s. I believe he was in his late 30s.
He was not, for how we know Kenya to be when it comes to those types of positions, they are normally older than 30 something. So he must have been exceptional somewhere.
But now he died mysteriously in his hotel room. I don't know whether the coroner's report has been issued or if it's going to be made public.
I don't think they will.
We don't know about that because this was government to government. So
I do not think they will.
I don't think this will be made public.
For security
They will not.
purposes.
Yeah, and I think one of the parts that was unknown, even to their families, is that they were actually in the U.S. Then from the U.S. that delegation was going to go to Haiti, but that was supposed to be, I think, a classified part that people are not supposed to know. But because this blew up, that's what happened. But yeah, so we have Haiti happening right now, and then we also know at the moment there's wars raging, Ukraine and Russia. There's a war, in Gaza, that has been, I don't know whether to call it a war.
It's a genocide.
Or just Israel genocide.
Apartheid, genocide.
So right now, because I think the way, the Biden administration is looking at it is that these things are not necessarily gonna end tomorrow. We know, on the Russia-Ukraine war, Russia had already been recruiting people from other parts of the world to go and fight on behalf of Russia. You will remember there was a time
giving out citizenship.
Yes, you will remember there was a time when there was a Tanzanian who was killed in the battlefront somewhere in Ukraine fighting on behalf of Russia. So I think this is one of the things that also the US is trying to measure because they can't take their soldiers to Ukraine. Can we, see if we can get people from other parts of the world who can donate their talents to go to the front lines. And now this is just now speculation. This is not, these are just some of the things that could be in play.
If they can do Haiti,
yes,
it would not be out of the realm of supposition or thinking about being deployed elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you cannot. It's out of.
The thing you have to realize is that there is no military action in Haiti. That's the difference. So when it comes to them getting people to actually go and convincing other nations to say, because the thing that Russia has already said, and they said it clearly, is that if any militant of any country steps foot in Ukraine, they're taking it as a direct provocation and they're going to
an act of war. Yeah, they're taking it as an act of war. And here, remember, we are at the cusp. I'm not a prophet of doom, but this is the closest. I'm not saying we're close, but this is the closest we've been to a world war since the end of the Second World War.
Yes.
Because, now once these alliances start forming, because I think the US is now trying to measure who will be willing to set foot first there. And because a lot of countries are unwilling to do it because no one wants beef with Russia. So I think this is part of the things that are being calculated. And then remember, there's also Gaza that's happening. You have the Houthi rebels who've been creating chaos on the Red Sea. Kenya, we are not on that side of the Red Sea, but I think we're close enough.